welcome to another installment of TED Excellence, the show in which we find out how to be strong while still being thoughtful. And I come to you live from my Corona bunker on the moon. Dog, Cat, Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Saturday. It is Saturday, isn't it? Yes, Saturday. Sagacious Saturday. Oh, it has been quite a week for me, between work busyness and other busyness and all types of things. But thought I'd take a minute or an hour to listen to someone tell me about how I should feel in order to be strong, in order to do the work. And what is the work? I don't know. But hopefully we'll find out. And who will find out with me today? Why, that would be Dr. Keeve, hello. Mike R, hello. Jago Dragon, hello. Jaeger Pony, hello. The Original Shroom, hello. Legit Low Talker, hello. Zach Osborne, hello. Mr. Tickletrunk, thank you so much for the happy dancing Dog, Cat, Fox. Thank you. Cephtus Wolf, hello. Tall Person, hello. Chicago Mike, hello. Asian Hippie, hello. And then chat jumped because, of course, it does. And then, Nobody Not Me, hello. Check Your Logic, hello. Debate Fly, hello. Ethan Robbins, hello. Black Belt for Christ, hello. Zeke Weiss, hello. Hearst Gravegear, hello. Chicago Mike, thank you so much for the other Dog, Cat, Fox. Hiya, Dog, Cat, Fox. Hiya. Blitz Zero, hello. Jordan Herbert, hello. That one servant of Satania, hello. Mike Savage, Blarg. Corey Suzuki, hello. Zalba, hello. The One Ton Hammer, hello. Pip Bin, hello. Jonathan Peterson, hello. Poker Pierce, hello. Green Death, hello. Gulf City, DCC 182, hello. Mr. Dax, hello. The Pissed Off Shih Tzu, hello. Robert Pincus, hello. I think that's everybody at present. If I missed you, I apologize. What card? I showed up late. Well, Green Death, I haven't said what card yet. And No One Nowhere, hello. Ebony Williams, hello. Today's card will be C. C as in cat, because that was the card chosen on the poll. But what exactly is the subject of today's talk? Well, it is embracing empathy is key for building resilience in the work we do. That might be one of the longest titles of a TEDx that I've done so far. Embracing empathy. Okay, so there are three key words, no pun intended, in this title: empathy, resilience, and I guess it's not a word so much as the work. I have heard these phrases and terms used many times in many different situations, not just TED Excellences. What is it when they say empathy? Well, I did a video a couple of years ago now where I kind of analyzed what the mechanism of using empathy as a sales tool is. I can't repeat it all verbatim because that'd be a whole other video. But in short, if you start out by going to your prospective customer and saying something to the effect of, I'm here to encourage empathy. Well, you've already framed the quality of what you have to say. You've already given a moral context, a positive moral context to whatever you have to say. And so the person receiving this is thus tested as to whether or not they possess empathy in the first place. Because if they're not open to receiving a message about empathy, well, that obviously points out a moral flaw in the listener. So when someone is using empathy in a sales pitch or in a description of something these days, or they're going to use it as a tool, I always get a little wary. Resilience. That means a billion different things depending on the context. But if we're talking about empathy, we're talking about emotional resilience. I don't know. I guess you have to have a hardened heart to do the work we do. This entire title is full of abstractions and things that I could interpret. But why bother interpreting when our speaker is going to do it for us, right? All right. So have your bingo cards ready, guys. Remember, it's bingo card C. C is in cat. As always, I will start off with a few seconds for sound test. You guys tell me if you can hear this, and then we'll begin. This clocks in at just over 10 minutes. Let us and arugula and begin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Jovanovic.
Hi, Anna Jovanovic. Nice to meet you. You guys hear that okay? Let's see. Dina B, thank you. Smash the like button. Yes. Dina B says, hello, Scribed Light. Sounds good. Asian Hippie says, sounds good. Excellent. All right. Well, what do you have to say for us? For us? Okay, Pepperjack, take it easy there. What do you have to say to us, Anna?
I'm an alumna from UC Merced's class of 2015.
Uh-huh.
And I'm very excited to be part of TEDx UC Merced's conference this year.
Okay.
My talk is about empathy in the workplace.
Ah, empathy in the workplace. Okay, so maybe work was literal to an extent. It wasn't a euphemism for, activism and things like that. That's usually what I attribute that word to. Okay, so again, I have no idea what we're going to talk about here. So workplace empathy. All right.
I hope you find this helpful, while also some solace from a story you can relate to.
Okay. I'm listening.
Being an empath means that sometimes you'll cry at work. This talk is about making it your superpower.
Well, being an empath is already a superpower. See Counselor Deanna Troy. But, okay, so you want to turn crying at work. I'm sorry. You want to turn crying at work into a superpower. Okay.
Before I begin, I want to put out a disclaimer.
Okay.
I'm an analyst in IT.
All right.
What do I know about empathy?
Okay. As I said before, empathy. Yeah. Okay. Empathy is one of the building blocks of human interaction and civilization. Okay. If you cannot extend your imagination for a moment into assuming a point of humanity and common cause with your fellow human being, you're never going to get along. We would have all killed each other off completely eons ago. What do you know about empathy? Well, short of you being a sociopath, I really do hope that you just possess a level of empathy naturally being a human being. So I don't categorize your career path as limiting your ability to be empathic. Do you think that people think that? I don't know. Thank you, tall person. Happy National Croissant Day. Les croissants, les croissants. How I love les croissants. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. Thank you, tall person. Yeah, okay, so you're an IT analyst. You wouldn't expect me to have empathy. No, I don't think that at all, actually. No, so you're wrong. The start, I said go.
Turns out that being an analyst in IT means having tough conversations.
Being a human being often means having tough conversations. Let's go to the bingo card, because I feel I'm going to circle free space and collectivizes own demographic. Even if her demographic is a working demographic, all the same, it is.
Sometimes introspective ones with yourself.
Uh-huh. Oh, tough conversations with yourself. Again, not limited to being an IT analyst, just a person.
I started out as an intern in IT with no direct experience.
That's usually what being an intern entails. You're learning. You're the apprentice. You're getting it on the ground floor. Yes.
Transferable skills, if you will.
Yes.
That meant my assignments were fast-paced, required quick turnaround times.
Yes.
And being in rooms with extremely experienced people.
Yes. If you're an intern to a place where there are people who are beyond being interns, Yes. Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk, again. I'm very glad Betazoids are getting IT jobs. Yes, isn't it wonderful? That's workplace diversity. Even strange beings from outer space who can tell what you're feeling. Can you imagine? I just want to take an aside for a second. Can you imagine Deanna Troi on the Enterprise, looking as she looked, being able to feel everything anyone is feeling at any particular time? Imagine how filthy she must have felt just walking around the Enterprise half the time. Because as utopian a society as the Federation supposedly was, and Deep Space Nine showed us otherwise, man, between Riker and all the other guys visiting from other planets and all the other people on the Enterprise and all the dramas going on, I know there's a couple episodes where she just couldn't turn off her powers, but just the passive, just walking down the hallway. I would think that being around other people would be the last thing an actual empath would want to do with their career. But what do I know?
I felt overwhelmed.
Okay.
And it still happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
There was one time when I was struggling.
Okay.
And I was coming out of a meeting that resulted in conflicting assignments.
Okay. Okay. So, certain amount of leeway given to the fact that this is probably being filmed in her study or her living room or something, and obviously not professionally done. She's not on a stage. Okay. I need some more details. I hope I get them. Okay. All right. And then?
A mentor stayed behind with me.
Okay.
I remember breaking down, bawling.
Why?
There's too many cooks in the kitchen.
Oh, so wait, you were still an intern at this? Is that right? She was still an intern at this point? There are too many cooks in the kitchen. And you're class of 2015. So you've been out of college for the last, 6 years? 5 or 6 years, depending on when this was filmed? Okay, just trying to get in my head all the particulars I can out of this. Thank you, Redneck Ram. Probably didn't help Troi that she was always wearing those very form-fitting, simple-piece bodysuit things instead of normal clothes. She was until that one episode where, what's his name showed up? Ronnie, the actor, Ronnie something. And then he showed up, and then she started wearing the actual uniform for the last couple of seasons or something. But yeah, she was the catsuit character preceding 7 of 9, and then the T'Pol, was that her name? T'Pol from Enterprise? Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to turn this into Star Trek trivia show, but it was when you talk about being an empath, there's one character that comes to mind, and that's just where my mind goes. Okay, but anyway, so you stayed behind with a mentor and you started bawling your head off because there were too many cooks in the kitchen. The cooks being the more experienced people in the company for which you were an intern. Okay.
Followed by, I'm not cut out for this.
So you had self-doubt. You were overwhelmed by the experience held by other people while being an intern. Well, I hope the lesson you learned is there's always going to be people who know more than you do about something, usually, until you become the world's foremost expert or something. But okay. What did the mentor say?
They paused and said, we're humans, not robots.
Good advice. Good advice, especially since you started out this talk by implying that somehow I wouldn't assume you possessed any kind of empathy because you're an IT analyst. Okay. And what did you do with this advice?
They consoled me in a way I never thought of before.
Really? We're humans, not robots. No, I mean, okay, maybe those exact words were never used, but that sentiment never crossed your doorstep prior to that. Okay. Redneck Ram, thank you again. She didn't wear the uniform until age. She actually took the command officer test. Last Star Trek comment from me this episode. If I remember correctly, and you'll forgive me for being a bit of a nerd, there was an episode where Picard was off the ship. He was captured or on a spy mission or something. And Jellicoe, that was his name. A replacement captain showed up to the Enterprise named Jellicoe, and he instructed Troy to wear a formal Starfleet officer's uniform since she was Starfleet. And it was after that episode that she started wearing the uniform persistently, I think. You might want to talk to Blind Press. She's probably more knowledgeable on this than I am. In fact, she is more knowledgeable in this than I am. But I believe that is the point at which everything changed as far as what Troy wore. And that's where TEDx will take you sometimes, guys, to Star Trek trivia. Thank you. This is Kyle. Hello, chat people and scribbles. Hello, Kyle. Okay, so we're humans, not robots. The profound piece of advice and consoling that your mentor gave you. And then?
And that's the story I want to share with you.
That's the story? That's the story that humans are humans and not robots. Okay.
My journey in embracing empathy.
Okay.
What was I actually experiencing?
I don't know.
Empaths can be sponges when it comes to people's stories and experiences.
Yeah.
That meeting happened to be a very tough one.
Why?
I don't actually remember what happened. But what I do know is that you might think empaths and this emotion is just in stories like books and movies, but it was happening to me in real life, and it happens at work.
Okay, I'm bewildered. I really am. First off, and I know it's just because of the style of the filming and everything, this feels more like a vlog than it does a TED or TEDx talk. I guess that's just unavoidable. Secondly, again, empathy, the ability to sense what someone else is feeling or put yourself in someone else's shoes or even just imagine a construct of another person and how they might feel should you do this action, or maybe trying to look at your own situation from an outside perspective, kind of all of that. That is just boilerplate humanity. You know, short of you being a sociopath or having some other, psychological disorder. Now, this makes me curious about, and I have no idea who our speaker is or what her background is or anything, but this makes me curious about her background. Like, what is her experience with, like, either emotions or how emotions were handled in her family or something? Because to me, I see someone who is very awkward in their own skin, so to speak. I'm using my own empathetic powers here, being an empath myself. Someone who isn't very assured about their own emotions or not very assured about their own emotional reflexes. So I'm not going to criticize her because it sounds like she's saying things that are sort of Captain Obvious stuff to me. It just makes me more curious about where she's coming from with it. But okay, tell us about your revelations.
It's no surprise. It's mainly because the average person spends a third of their lives working or in some sort of work environment.
Yeah. So?
We can't hit the pause button on our emotions.
Well, no, but I mean, some of us are better at controlling our emotional expressions than others, or being able to set aside emotion when it's unproductive or unnecessary, I guess. So some of us can, in an effect, pause our emotions. Classically speaking, not as a hard and fast rule, mind you, classically speaking, the males of the species end up having more emotional control or metering than the female of the species. And that's not a criticism one way or the other. That's just kind of how it goes. But, okay, so you don't think people can pause their emotions? You can. You can. You can let the rationale of the moment, you can be pragmatic about when is a good time and when isn't a good time to express them. You could be feeling terrible and still get your job done. I know I've done that most of my professional career, but okay. Again, and I'm not necessarily criticizing our speaker. That's her perspective on things. And I don't know if we're going to bingo out of this one, but we'll see.
Doing what you love.
Yeah.
Loving what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's rewarding, but it can also be draining.
If you can find that.
I thought of this as a weakness for quite a while.
Uh-huh.
Until I started looking for some positives and how to make it better.
Okay.
I leaned into it.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I really recommend to you, or want for you to share with you, is ask yourself,
yes,
what could I do with all these feelings?
What can I do with all these feelings? Okay. I'm getting ready to circle leaves out vital context because she's talking in far too many abstractions here. I don't know what she's talking about. What did I do with this or that or the other? In fact, I'm going to circle it now just for the heck of it. Because, and I don't feel any sort of, just I don't know why I feel the need to say this. I don't feel any, like, so far, any sort of animosity or the usual sort of, snarkiness towards our speaker that I might in other situations. I don't sense anything ungenuine about her here, using my empathic powers, mind you. But I don't know where she's going with this. And yes, as people have pointed out in the chat, this is kind of unlike most other TEDx talks that I've done before. I didn't know what I was getting into, so neither do you.
What I really wanted to do, and what some of you might be experiencing or experienced in the past, is connecting. Wanting to connect with someone and staying connected. The reason for my feelings was really a disconnect.
Okay. Well, at work, I wonder if we're getting into the territory of the difference between professional distance and bring your whole self to work. Is that where we're going? And I don't know if those phrases will actually come up, but that's sort of like in the back of my head what I'm sort of pulling from this so far.
Days that I needed to get an assignment done, and what I started to do was bring in my favorite snack or bake something to share with everyone.
This sounds very, I'm sorry, and I know this is going to sound insulting. This sounds very grade school. This sounds childlike rationale to get used to a place or make friends. And I'm not saying that stuff can't work or it's inappropriate or something. It's just, I don't know.
I even connected with someone over toast.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know there are limitations working from home.
Yes.
Think about the ways that you can connect with others or stay connected.
Email, Discord, Snapchat, OnlyFans, ICQ, LimeWire, Napster. I could go on.
I don't have a solid answer.
Okay.
What I do recommend are virtual coffees.
Virtual coffees.
Or just taking the time to reach out.
To do okay. What are we talking about? I guess my empathy and the amount of leeway I'm willing to give, given the circumstances of the filming and the obvious discomfort of our speaker, only goes so far. What are we talking about? Where are we going? You're 5 years out of college at this UC Merced place. What? Okay. Breathe.
What my mentor was saying is
Yes.
empathy sets us apart as humans.
Yes, that you're absolutely right. Empathy sets us apart from the beasts of the field. I mean, uh-huh.
At a time when we're constantly automating our day-to-day lives, day-to-day tasks,
Uh-huh.
empathy is at the heart of those innovations.
It depends on what we're talking about.
Think about your favorite apps or services.
My favorite apps or services. Okay. Well, StreamYard, the one I'm using right now. I guess it technically could be an app. I don't have a smartphone, but I don't know. But anyway, it's a service. Okay. StreamYard. All right.
It inspires our problem solving when we put people first.
Like what? I thought you were going to continue the thought about the app and the service and okay.
Whether it's end users or people part of that build process.
Yeah.
In a way, it enforces a shared purpose.
An example.
It's especially important now through the uncertainty of the pandemic.
There's no uncertainty of the pandemic. This will not go on forever. It has certainly revealed a lot of things and destroyed a lot of things. But I'm not uncertain about the pandemic. There's a lot of uncertainty to people's personal situations based on the things as a result of the pandemic, certainly. But the world will go on, life will continue at some point, and we'll get to some semblance of back to normal. But I don't know. I just as an aside, I'm a little, I don't know how to put it, sketchy on people using the advent of the pandemic to signal that nothing can be the same again. Everything is different now, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, we will never go back to the way we were before, all everything. Nothing's. I feel like it's some kind of sales pitch, some kind of disaster artist kind of, the sky is falling kind of thing. And don't get me wrong, I understand that the after effects of what's going on right now and the changes that have been forced upon us by government and elsewise, and not necessarily just on the basis of the disease, will have lasting impacts for a long time. But I don't know. Maybe it's just my sense of perspective between the fall of the Berlin Wall and 9/11 and the economic crash and a couple of wars and everything else. Maybe it's the frog in the heating up pan kind of thing. But I always feel like after one of these big, huge upsets, we all collectively try to get back to a state of normalcy again for whatever that means for us. And I don't like the doom saying everyone's using for the pandemic, like nothing can ever be the same again. It irks me. It irks me. Anyway, okay, pandemic, right, everything's changed.
It's important to talk about empathy because it helps promote work that is meaningful.
What? What industry? Okay, wait. You're an IT analyst. Okay, so you analyze information technology. I'm assuming that you are a systems admin of some kind, or you troubleshoot problems with the systems and things like that. Okay. Not a lot of empathy is involved in that. It's a lot of technicalities. It's a lot of ones and zeros. It's a lot of binary decisions and this, that, and the other. Your relationships with people at work, your coworkers, colleagues, whatever else, sure, there's empathy there. If you're developing a product to do a particular thing for people, provide a service, yes, you have to know your customer and empathize with their needs in order to make it work. Sure, right? I get that, but what are you talking about? Like empathy is some magical new discovery for you or something. Talking about empathy, what is there to talk about? Either you have it to some degree, or I guess you don't, or something. Please give me an example.
With long-term benefits rather than short-term burnout.
Like what? Like what?
You might be feeling it now.
Oh, I'm feeling something right now. Confusion and frustration because you're not telling me anything. You're talking in abstracts, in hypotheticals that don't have anything for me to, have a foothold in to follow along with where you're going.
Studying, working from home. So
okay.
What can you do about it?
Do about what? Not having empathy or having a difficulty having relationships remotely? I don't know. Tell me what I can do about it. Maybe I can reverse engineer what you're talking about.
Find ways to connect the things you're studying and doing with your own pain points.
With my own pain points?
You can start now or any time, really.
To do what?
Empathy is all around us.
Like the Force?
It's present. It's in our past. It's in our future.
Does it surround us and penetrate us and bind the universe together?
What I mean by that is empathy is part of being present.
No, empathy is just part of being human. Different situations either require or do not require empathy. Sometimes problems are just sort of this needs to get done. The end. What?
Being in the moment, experiencing something with someone or something.
If I'm experiencing something with something, there's not really empathy there. It's just...
Embracing empathy towards yourself and others is part of overcoming your past.
Overcoming my past? What of my past do I need to overcome? Thank you, Chicago Mike. Word salad. Word salad. Yes, I apologize. I've been so mesmerized by trying to decipher what's going on here. Word salad, circling that. I'll have to look at the card later, guys. I'm at a loss as to whether or not I can safely say anything about what she's saying applies to many other squares on here. She's being so vague and so abstract in whatever point she's trying to get to. Okay.
Whether individual or shared experiences.
I'm going to back up a couple seconds. I lost the plot there for a second. Thank you, Redneck Ram. $20 says she was a diversity hire, that diversity being the mentally hilarious. I don't know. Again, my empathic powers tell me that our speaker has had a very tumultuous history of relationships. I couldn't say how, I couldn't say in what specificity, but getting over your past, connecting with other people, having little control over her emotions, seeing empathy or the discussion thereof as some revolutionary notion. It might be for her, which just makes me more curious about her than it does about what she's talking about. Because what she's talking about, if I understand it, is sort of just basic human experience, I guess.
With someone or something.
I didn't back up far enough. I apologize.
Present. It's in our past. It's in our future.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is empathy is part of being present.
Uh-huh.
Being in the moment, experiencing something with someone or something.
Yeah.
Embracing empathy towards yourself and others is part of overcoming your past, whether individual or shared experiences.
I'm really curious to know what she means by overcoming your past. Like your past as a default is something that you have to live down or something.
And finally, having empathy towards the future.
Empathy. Okay, anybody out there that suddenly wants an idea for a product name? Empathy. You know, a brand of brews. Empathy. Just saying. You're free to take that. I won't charge you.
Is part of embracing possibilities and continuous improvement.
Uh-huh.
Problem solving with an opportunistic mindset.
What? What?
Are there any drawbacks of empathy?
Yes. Let's say, for example, that you're a Jainist. Jainism being a religion where, you know, there is no violence, and you try to eschew negative thoughts or reactions and that kind of thing. If you were a extremist Jainist and felt empathy for everything, then you probably wouldn't even be able to move, or you probably feel that the best thing to do would be to eliminate yourself on the off chance that you step on a bacteria. You know, because you wouldn't want to hurt any living thing. You empathize with everything. Yeah, there are some drawbacks. You can be oversensitive. Like bawling at the workplace over too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a fairly new concept to apply in the work context.
What? It's a new concept to apply empathy in a work context. You ever heard of something called the morale officer in the military? Whether it's official or unofficial. You ever heard of just leadership or respect or a zillion other things I could say that deal with one person having an emotional understanding of another person towards getting something done at the workplace? It's not a new concept at all.
Our society tends to incentivize the outgoing and outspoken.
Well, if you remain quiet and you don't do anything, nobody's going to notice you as much as the person who is saying things and doing things. So you're correct.
It takes a lot of practice and grit to figure out how to leverage empathy effectively, but it's a skill worth developing.
Okay, now that sounds more manipulative than it does sound empathetic. Empathy as a skill. I mean, and I'm not saying that necessarily you can be, manipulation is inherently negative. I'm just saying that in the way that she just said that, it sounds less sincere when you put it that way, if that makes any sense.
You'll feel like an imposter.
I will?
You'll feel like a has-been.
How can I be a has-been? I haven't... A has-been? How... You have to have been something first to have been a has-been. What do you... Ugh.
Now, those are one and the same.
What?
And I'll tell you how.
What? An imposter and a has-been are one and the same? How can you have been an imposter if you had been the thing first? What? Okay, you know, we got 2 minutes left. I don't care.
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
I don't care if we get another square on the card at all at this point. 8 minutes of this, we got 2 minutes left. I don't see it getting any better.
You're comparing yourself to others, including your past self.
My past life? My past self? Yes, as I go along in life, I do, on occasion, compare where I am with where I was. And if I'm in a particular instance of skill or development or envy or something, sure, I'm going to compare myself to other people. This is basic human experience. Oh, okay, either it's basic human experience, or my confined perspective on human experience is the only one of its kind. Everybody else I have ever met in my entire life, I have just projected onto them a sense of basic boilerplate humanity and emotional process and introspection that doesn't exist anywhere else. I guess that's possible. I'm not a mind reader. Speaking of which, I'm just going to circle mind reading assumes motives, because she's made a lot of declarations about how things work or how things don't work, or implying that people don't already work this way. Yeah, sure, all right.
And it's not your fault.
Oh, okay.
You're programmed to do this.
I'm programmed to do... I thought we were humans and not robots. Now, programmed by whom?
We are taught through school, through life, to train our minds in a way that we build our toolkit by comparing things we think are similar, but we are not similar.
There's a symbol in symbolic logic. If you've ever taken symbolic logic, you have my sympathies. But there's a symbol in symbolic logic that for some reason, I really like the concept of. Imagine, if you will, an equals sign in math, right? Two little dashes, one on top of the other. But now add a third dash. So you have 3 dashes, right? Okay. And on either side of this triglyph equals sign, you have 2 different values. You have A and you have B. Okay, so it basically would look like A equals triple equals B. What does that mean in symbolic logic? Okay, that means that A and B are different things, and yet they are so similar as to be indistinguishable from one another. So, for example, if I said something that was absolutely racist against demographic A, and then I said something that was absolutely racist against demographic B, using the exact same words but flipping out the skin colors, well, I'd be saying 2 different things. I'd literally be saying 2 different things with 2 different constructions of words. However, they would be the same thing effectively, right? Okay, assessing things like that, assessing that there are things that are different, yet they are so similar as to be effectively equal, that is a function of logic and rationale. That's just what people do. So what? Okay, Mike R is gonna try to throw me some calming thoughts here. I think she is implying that most people are not empathetic, and they should be. I'd have to say I agree with her. Okay. If that is her message, I think she's wrong. I don't think as many people as she might believe are unempathetic are as unempathetic as she believes. Okay. If the message is people need to be more empathetic towards one another, or just have a general baseline empathy towards one another, sure. Okay. I can accept that as well. That's fine. And I would accept that if it seemed like that's what she's saying. But, okay, we're almost done. We're almost done.
We're not similar to our past selves because experience makes us who we are today.
Yes.
We are also not the people we compared ourselves to because, again, we do not experience the same things or experience one event same way through the same lens.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It just, most of this is so Captain Obvious. Okay. Dr. Keefe says, list past, present, and future. All things considered, sure. I will circle a list on here. Sure. Okay, so a list has been circled. Let's go.
Improving the way we talk about ourselves is a step in the right direction.
How?
Again, we are not robots.
Yeah, but we were programmed. You said we were programmed to behave a certain way by schools, etc.
Our unique experiences and characteristics are what make us human.
No. Our genetics are what make us human. Our unique characteristics and experiences are what make us who we are as individuals. I know, I might be just being Mr. Literal here, but can't help myself when I'm talking to a 5 years on graduate from a major university. I think it's a major university. UC Merced? Is that a major? I don't know. Anyway.
So, how do you make it your superpower?
I don't know.
Make room for yourself.
What does that mean?
Own your space.
Own my
The
space?
journey to embracing empathy is long and the road less traveled.
The road less traveled. One of the primary building blocks of human interaction is the road less traveled. If she's saying be more kind to yourself, okay. If she's saying try to be more empathetic to other people, okay. But here's the problem. I have to put the word if before all of it because I'm having to fill in the blanks because I don't know.
Especially in school, in the workplace.
Okay.
It requires you to grow and find yourself.
Yeah, because nobody already does that.
But I'll tell you now, it's worth it.
Oh.
And sometimes it takes a step back from what you're doing.
Yes.
A pause.
Yes.
In order to understand and communicate your needs.
Uh-huh.
Finding your strengths, your weaknesses, and your toolkit, it's invaluable.
Okay.
Sometimes it's in the people you meet.
Yeah.
The projects you work on.
Uh-huh.
Or sometimes even toast.
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
I got nothing. I got nothing. I mean, it wasn't even a well-constructed essay, let alone it looked like she was looking down at notes or something over the course of the deal, but it was just a loosely strung together series of abstracts and thoughts and words and platitudes and yeah, okay, empathy's great, guys. Need it in the workplace to do something and things and stuff and okay, I'm gonna Jesus. I'm gonna go over the bingo card best as I can here. Let me okay, here's where I'm at right now. Let's go over it. All right, marginalization. No. Feminism. No. Microaggressions, unconscious bias. Maybe you could pull something out for unconscious bias with her. I don't know. Anecdote that probably never happened. Now, I believe that she broke down and started crying in the middle of a meeting or after a meeting and had to be told by her mentor that she's not a robot. Here's the thing. Of all the TEDx's I've done, this is one of the few where I don't get any sense that this person was being ungenuine. You know, I don't get any sense that she was being playing a character or giving me a sales pitch in that way, you know, a very constructed thing. Because A, it wasn't very constructed, and she was pausing a lot, and I don't get any falseness from her. I don't get anything that sounds, you know, manufactured. So that's going to play a part in how I go over the rest of the card. Thank you, Chicago Mike. Did she spend 10 minutes saying, love thy neighbor? Maybe. I mean, it was all very fortune cookie, zodiac kind of abstraction. You could pull a whole lot of meaning out of if you tried. Contradicts own point or argument. No, I guess. I mean, it's hard to contradict your argument that humans are or should be empathetic, because I don't know who could possibly dissuade you from that. Diversity and inclusion, she never brought up the concepts. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. No. I mean, and empathy by itself is not a buzzword. It's just plays victim. Was she playing the victim? I mean, I believe that she's been a victim of her own insecurities. Well, you know, we've been programmed by society. I don't know. Maybe benevolent condescension. Okay. Do I believe that she was being benevolently condescending when she was suggesting that empathy was some new concept to people? Again, when I see benevolent condescension, think of someone who's being sort of manipulative or sort of unknowingly backwards in their, you know, the soft bigotry of low expectations. I didn't get that from her. I don't know if that makes sense. Patriarchy, no. Wage gap, no. Systemic institutional. I'm going to circle that one just because she talked about how we learn this from society, from the schools, etc. It's a bit of a stretch, but it's not going to get us a bingo, so I don't feel too bad. Privilege, no. Childhood or family anecdote. Did she... I mean, she talked about herself, but did she mention her growing up? I'm forgetting now. Did she mention her growing up or her family? I don't think so. So I don't know if I can circle that one. Self-vilification or wretchedness. There was a bit of that there. There was a bit of I don't know if I would say self-pity or something, but a lot of sort of being down on herself. So I'll circle that one, not out of spite or something, but just that's how she came across. Equity, no. Weightless example. I mean, I'll just go back to the one example she gave. Over toast. What happened over toast? What does that mean? I already circled leaves out vital context, but as an example towards what she was getting at, and then using it as her closer, I don't know what that's supposed to tell me. So the whole talking to somebody over toast towards proving her argument or something, this doesn't carry anything. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. I mean, nearly everything about this talk was a non sequitur in some way, shape, or form. But did she use any hot topic sort of notion or abstract out of place? Again, she was all over the place. I can't say so. White supremacy, no, she never brought up race. Okay, so guys, that's where I've got the card, even though this is going to go into the WTF Hall of Fame. I've started a playlist just for those TED Talks or TEDx Talks on my channel. If you're interested to see the previous winners of the WTF award, either literally or in retroactive sense. So if you have any suggestions for squares that can be circled, arguments the same, let me know now. Osan, she said we weren't robots, then talked about how we're all programmed. Oh, you know what? That is a good call. Good call. I should have thought of that. I pointed out when she said it. Good call. All right. Contradicts own point or argument. Gotcha there. Pipbin says she's just a college know-it-all. I don't know if I'd classify her as a know-it-all. She sounds very uncertain of herself at every turn. Dina B, she just seems to be a very naive person who doesn't seem to understand people. That could be it too. Like I say, I'm willing to extend a whole truckload of empathy towards our speaker, that she wasn't being disingenuous, that there wasn't any kind of, chicanery going on or some kind of sales pitch or whatever else. I didn't get anything from her other than being genuine. So unlike a lot of TEDx talkers or TED talkers who come out very polished and slick and they're so assured of themselves and a little self-righteous or a lot self-righteous depending on the circumstances, I didn't get any of that from her here. So, point in her favor. I like I said, I didn't sense anything that was, like I say, disingenuous or manipulative in that way. Mike R. Scribelet, I think this lady just struggles with words, hence the lack of logic with this TEDx talk. It could be. It could be. I'm not going to rate the TEDx talk on quality per se. I don't have a star system or anything. It's basically on content and, was it persuasive in some way, shape, or form? And on content, well, the bingo card's in front of you. As far as persuasive, like I say, you could project onto what she was saying a whole lot of different meanings, which is, by the way, just for all of you that don't already know, an aspect of empathy. Our trying to decipher what she was saying, in a way, at least I feel, was us trying to help her argument to make sense to the group of us, right? We're trying to help along what she was leaving out or not articulating as clearly as maybe she could have. And the only way we're able to do that is by listening and empathizing with the meaning behind the words that we think she's trying to project. So there you go. If you need an example of empathy, this whole process is, in a way, empathetic. Asan plays victim, using her story about needing to go to the counselor as the basis of her talk. I don't feel like that's playing the victim. Because, again, playing the victim implies a certain level of deception, a certain level of taking something that isn't really victimization and then making yourself into a victim. Nothing about this felt self-serving. Like I said before, nothing about this felt like she was propping herself up into a victim status. It seemed more like a confession of confusion, a confession of not fitting in or not being comfortable with herself. I didn't get a sense that she was making herself out to be a victim falsely, right? Plays victim. There's a difference between playing a victim and being a victim. And I think, if anything, she's probably more a victim of her own sense of self-limitation. Let's see. Let's see. Nobody, not me. Is this the first double WTF? Well, yes. I mean, the whole WTF stinger video is relatively new. It doesn't mean that it's like WTF times 2 in its power. I just felt compelled to do it again because why not? It doesn't put it above the other ones. I still think Chromosome Lady is probably, that's a high bar to beat. And this might be a WTF, but I don't think it's nearly as bewildering as Chromosome Lady. And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say Chromosome Lady, go to my channel, go to the playlists, click on Created Playlists, and you'll see all of them because a lot of them are hidden most of the time. And look for the TEDx WTF Hall of Fame. And the first one in that playlist will be the one that started the whole idea of a WTF award. Mike Savage, I think she could walk down the safest street on the planet and get mugged in 14 seconds. I hope not. I really hope not. Mr. Dax, imagine if sometime the circles form the German no-no symbol. Okay. And Dr. Keeve, Scribelet, are you going to circle the whole thing, especially since it was a WTF? Oh, you know what? That is something I didn't do the last time. Okay, you know what? I will do that. That should be, and wasn't, I forgot to do it the last time. That should be the official, this talk has become a WTF moment. So certainly I can do that. 1 second here. There we go. And then that and that. So yeah, that's what I did for the chromosome lady. I will try to remember to do that in the future if we come across any more of those. But everyone, I think that kind of says it all. I think that's where we're at. A sympathetic speaker to a certain extent about an empathetic subject that required a whole lot of empathy to try to figure out just what the fuck she was talking about. But there you go. That's our Sagacious Saturday. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this one, as bizarre as it was, as a mental slog as it might have been. And especially if you're not a Star Trek fan, I'm sure you tuned out as soon as we got into that part of it. If you'd like to hear more from me, or the Ranting Monkey, or Satsu 2 Cents, you can find all three of us tonight on the Ranting Monkeys channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for The Lords of the Night, where we will talk about the news of the day, news stories you submit, what we've been up to on the internet, and your questions and comments. Everyone, again, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for your participation and your argumentation. Those of you that donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. I hope everyone is safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. I hope you all have a good rest of your Saturday and a good rest of your weekend and every other empathetic well wish that I can think of. Just use your imagination, and I'm probably saying it psychically. And lastly, thank you, Chicago Mike, so much for the Dogcat Fox. Good job, Dogcat Fox. Chicago Mike says good job. Wowie, wow, wow. Dogcat Fox approves. Everyone, take care. Bye-bye.